Welcome to NTD Newsroom. I'm Don Ma. One pilot has been rescued after a U.S. fighter jet went down in Iran. The Central Command is expected to issue a statement soon. The White House is seeking an increase to defense spending for the 2027 fiscal year, plus a 10% cut in non-defense spending. What's in the newly proposed budget? A strong jobs report from March shows the labor market rebounding. The reaction from the White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett. President Trump announced today that Vice President Vance's role as fraud czar will primarily focus on Democrat-led states. NASA's Artemis II crew is officially heading to the moon after a final major engine firing. We followed the 4 astronauts as they go on their mission out of this world. And the U.S. stepping up its crackdown on Chinese tech, now targeting devices already approved for use here. What the FCC is proposing next and why officials say it's a national security risk.
This is NTD Newsroom, live from our global headquarters in New York City.
Breaking news, one pilot has been rescued after a U.S. fighter jet went down in Iran. The Central Command is expected to issue a statement soon. Joining us now live in studio is NTD's White House correspondent, Iris Tao. So Iris, good afternoon. Can you tell us what is the latest on this incident?
Sure. So senior Israeli officials have confirmed to the Epoch Times that one U.S. pilot has been rescued and accounted for as the U.S. has dispatched a search and rescue team after that one U.S. fighter jet went down in Iran. Meanwhile, the search for the second pilot is still ongoing. And the White House press secretary telling U.S. reporters that the president has been briefed on the situation about this U.S. fighter jet crashing in Iran. And meanwhile, we are still waiting for the U.S. Central Command as well as the White House to give more details and more detailed confirmation about this whole incident. The president doesn't have any open press events scheduled for today, but he does have policy meetings all afternoon inside the White House and a potential signing event happening in just about an hour. Potentially, we could see him opening this up if he would want to talk about it.
Okay, so Iris, we know that the Iranian regime has been pushing out a lot of propaganda and false information. What should we keep in mind as we continue to monitor this situation?
Sure. So ever since Operation Epic Fury has begun, the Iranian state media as well as the Iranian regime have been pushing out a lot of propaganda as well as false information about the ongoing operation. For example, Central Command of the U.S. saying that Iran has put out at least half a dozen false claims throughout this past month about downing an enemy fighter jet. That has happened over half a dozen times, but none of that turned out to be true. Of course, now the situation could look a bit different as we are hearing confirmation from the U.S. side this time about a fighter jet being down, but still it doesn't mean that everything the Iranian state media or the regime putting out is necessarily accurate. Well, we also know that this is the first and only time that the U.S. has had a fighter jet down in Iran ever since the operation began over a month ago. And according to the Central Command, they have hit over 12,300 targets in Iran and having conducted over 13,000 combat flights. So this is the one incident we're looking at right now. And the president just this week saying that the U.S. will continue to strike Iran with a lot of intensity over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We'll watch.
I can say tonight that we are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly. We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong.
And we know the administration says they have destroyed most, if not all, of Iran's Air Force, Navy, as well as 90% of their missile capabilities. The Pentagon also said last month that it has established air dominance in Iranian airspace, meaning that U.S. aircraft, as well as Israeli and allies aircraft, can fly there without any major challenges. And we are seeing, for example, in the latest search and rescue mission that is ongoing right now, that some C-130s are flying at pretty low levels, meaning that the U.S. still maintain a pretty strong defense in the region.
Okay, we'll keep a close eye on the situation, but thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.
In Washington, President Trump is proposing roughly $1.5 trillion for defense spending as part of a 2027 budget request. That's an increase of 42% from last year. That's according to a White House budget document released today. The president is also proposing a 10% cut in non-defense discretionary spending for the 2027 fiscal year. The goal is to strengthen the military's ability to buy more munitions and expand the U.S. Navy fleet. It also includes funding for the Golden Dome missile defense system. Out of the $445 billion the administration wants to add, $350 billion would come through upcoming legislation. A White House fact sheet says savings are achieved by reducing or eliminating woke, weaponized, and wasteful programs, and by returning state and local responsibilities to their respective governments. Some proposed cuts are targeting green energy spending. Others include eliminating nearly 30 Justice Department programs that the administration calls duplicative or weaponized. The budget also proposes a 13% increase for the DOJ to strengthen its ability to prosecute violent criminals. This proposal is only a spending plan. Congress makes the final decision, which often differs from the original request. In other War Department news, the Army's top general is stepping down. In a post on X, Assistant War Secretary Sean Parnell saying General Randy A. George will be retiring from his position as the 41st Chief of Staff of the Army effective immediately. The Pentagon thanking the general for his decades of military service. General George served in Iraq and Afghanistan before becoming senior military assistant to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. General George had been expected to serve through 2027 after his Senate confirmation in 2023. General Christopher Leneve is set to serve as acting chief, according to multiple media reports. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the Iranian regime is weaker than ever and that Israel is stronger than ever. Here he is speaking this morning.
Together with our American friends, we continue to crush the terrorist regime in Iran. We are eliminating commanders, bombing bridges, bombing infrastructure. In recent days, the Air Force has destroyed 70% of Iran's steel production capacity. This is a tremendous achievement that deprives the Revolutionary Guards of both financial resources and the ability to produce many weapons.
Netanyahu mentioning coordination with President Trump. The president says U.S. forces will keep hitting Iran very hard in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And good news for the economy. The March jobs report shows the labor market rebounding after a sharp decline in February. Data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics today shows the U.S. economy adding 178,000 new jobs in March. This is the biggest increase in 15 months, after the economy lost 133,000 jobs in February. It also beat economists' expectations by almost 3 times. The unemployment rate also dipped to 4.3% last month, from 4.4% in February. Driving the payroll gains in March was the healthcare industry, followed by construction, transportation, and warehousing, manufacturing, and social assistance. The financial industry and federal employment saw the biggest job losses. White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett reacting to the report on Fox News today.
This is an absolute blockbuster number. It's one of the best numbers that you've seen in a long time. And what it shows is that all of the cumulative policies that President Trump has pushed, the no tax on tips, no tax on overtimes, making the old Trump tax cuts permanent, deregulation, $18 trillion in new investments in the U.S. through our trade deals, all of that stuff, plus a big reduction in the trade deficit, has created an enormous amount of momentum for the U.S. economy. And so that momentum cannot be upended by a temporary Middle East skirmish.
A White House spokesman also commenting, saying Americans can rest assured that after the short-term disruptions of Operation Epic Fury are behind us, America's economic resurgence is set to only accelerate. The U.S. economy adding 178,000 jobs in March. Joining us is Michael Busler, economist, public policy analyst, and professor of finance at Stockton University. Michael, good afternoon. So it looks like the labor market is doing quite well. What contributed to this higher than expected number of jobs added last month?
So a couple things we have to look at. January and February jobs numbers were revised. January had about 150,000 jobs created, which was good. The February had a negative 130, and now we have this very positive number in March. Part of the reason the February number was so bad is there was a strike in California of the nurses and the Kaiser Permanente network. That was about 35,000 nurses on strike. Starbucks was also on strike, and that added, I think, another 5,000 to 8,000 people. So that's why the February number was so good. Now, all of those people came back to work in March, so that pumped up the March number. However, if we take a look at 3 months and average them out, the economy's averaging 68,000 jobs per month in the first quarter of this year. That's very strong. Last year, we averaged only about 12 to 15,000 jobs per month for the entire year. So we have a good number here. The hope is that GDP will start to grow also. Obviously, if businesses are hiring more people, they plan to produce more output, and GDP should grow. Just to recall, the second and third quarter of last year, GDP grew at around a 4% rate. The fourth quarter, the growth rate dropped to 1.5%. We attributed much of that to the government shutdown. Now, for the first quarter, most of my colleagues, economists, were forecasting about a 3% growth for this quarter. However, most of them have downgraded that growth probably to the 1.5% range as a result of this Iran conflict. So the bottom line is it's a good thing we added jobs. The sectors we added jobs, as you pointed out, were very important. The construction industry, hospitality added a lot of jobs, which you'd expect this time of year coming into the spring season. Manufacturing added a lot of jobs also. So the report is very encouraging. What we don't know going forward is what the impact of this Iran conflict is going to be on the economy overall. What we do know is gas prices are way up. That affects inflation. And when energy prices go up and inflation goes up, it's bad for the economy. So we're not sure how long this is going to last, but the sooner we get this over with and get the economy back to where it should be, the better it's going to be for everybody.
So what is your feeling then? Do you think this hiring rebound, which is very much over expectations, do you think this rebound will continue, or is it not going to last?
I certainly hope it continues. Before the Iran conflict, I would have said GDP growth for the year is probably going to be in the 4% range, and we should be adding many more jobs going forward. Now, again, I don't know what the impact of this Iran conflict will be, and how much that of a negative impact that may have on job creation in the future. The point is, there's more uncertainty now than we've seen in the past.
But are you encouraged by the fact that this report is received during this conflict? So potentially this report could reflect already some of the impact of the Iran war, and things are looking good.
I certainly hope that's right, Don. We don't know for sure. You know, when companies hire people, they just don't say, today I'm going to hire somebody and tomorrow you hire them. You know, there's a little bit of time. You have to search for people. You have to plan for what's coming. I have a feeling most of these jobs were in the pipeline and were being added before the Iran conflict started, even though it started, you know, at the end of February. So you asked me, what do I see going forward? Ignoring the Iran conflict for a minute, everything in the economy looked good. January and February numbers were strong. Retail sales numbers were strong. So it looked like we were going to be off to a big year this year. It's difficult to tell exactly what the impact of the conflict will be. And what we don't know is how much longer it's going to go on. President Trump said a couple of weeks, this thing should be over. If that's the case, and they can get the Straits of Hormuz opened and all those ships carrying oil can get through and get onto the market, you'll see oil prices plummet, probably below what they were before the conflict, and gasoline will go back down to the 2-something range it was back before the conflict. The bottom line is there's still uncertainty, and we just have to see how that's going to play out.
Okay, can we talk a little bit about how the Federal Reserve may be looking at these job support, the January, the February, the March? What do you think they might be weighing in terms of rate cuts? What are they thinking potentially?
I think they're going to hold steady. There is a fear of more inflation, mostly because of the gas prices going up. And in February, if you asked me this after the February job report and we lost all those jobs, I would say the Federal Reserve would probably be looking more toward a rate cut. But with the strong job market now, the unemployment, at least for the month of March, and the unemployment rate going down, what Chairman Powell typically does in these situations where there's no clear-cut path forward is he always takes a wait-and-see attitude. So when they meet again, I expect him to do that, to hold rates constant. Now remember, Powell will be out of office in May, and somebody else will be in there, probably Kevin Warsh. He's going to be a little more aggressive in cutting rates. So I think between now and May, I don't think the Fed's going to change the interest rates at all.
Okay, well, let's leave it there today. Michael, always good to talk to you. Hope you have a great weekend.
And you too. Thank you.
Pam Bondi is out as Attorney General. Todd Blanche taking over temporarily as acting AG. What he's saying about the DOJ shakeup. More after this break. Stay with us.
Tired of struggling with that heavy leaf blower? Introducing the Bullseye Power Blower. It delivers a massive blowing force, and yet it's so compact and lightweight. Just lock and load the rechargeable battery for long-lasting runtime. The secret is the compact turbocharged motor with jet burst technology that blasts out 21,000 RPMs of airflow. Watch this. The sheer force propels this woman across the pool. Look, use Bullseye to blow up a huge jump house. Now that's power. Even blows snow right off your vehicle in no time. Turbo clean your porch in a flash or tidy up your dirty garage floor in seconds. Get it today for just $99.99. But wait, act now and get a $20 discount. So it's only $79.99. Plus, you'll get the adjustable extension tube, yours free. And it all comes with free shipping. Order now.
Call 1-800-209-2313 or go to bullseyeblower.com. That's 1-800-209-2313 or order online at bullseyeblower.com. Order now.
This is how I keep my joints happy.
Omega XL is a powerful natural supplement backed by 40 years of clinical research. Take control of your pain, like Cynthia Bailey.
My knees in particular started giving me pain issues all the way back to my modeling days, from just running through airports, photo shoots. After taking Omega XL, I really started to notice how less stiff I was, especially my knees and my hip. Has Omega XL changed my life? Yes. I barely notice my joint pain anymore. Now I'm like literally sprinting through the airports. My secret is Omega XL.
Pick up the phone and call now to get this exclusive TV offer. Buy one Omega XL and we'll send you a second bottle absolutely free. You'll also get a free bottle of Vitamin XL D3. Buy one, get two free. A total value of over $115, all for just $49.95. You save more than 55% and shipping is free. Backed by a money-back guarantee and is not available in stores. Operators are standing by, so call now.
For the first time ever, we're bringing you MyPillow mattresses and mattress toppers for as low as $99.98. Remember, sleep's all about temperature and pressure points. Whatever sleep needs you have, we have the right technology for you. Like our MyPillow mattress topper, our queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort supports to help relieve your pressure points. And how about our 3-inch Hybrid Plus mattress topper? It's infused with copper and silver to help your body get the restorative sleep it needs. And our MyPillow and Case Coil mattresses, I personally helped develop these mattresses to make sure they have everything needed to give us great sleep. Plus, they're made right here in the USA, and they ship right to your front door, absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to get MyPillow mattresses and toppers for as low as $99.98 and free shipping.
President Trump saying Vice President J.D. Vance will focus on investigating fraud in Democrat-run states in his new role as fraud czar. The president signed an executive order last month launching a national task force led by Vance. Its mission is to look into fraud allegations across the country. In a Truth Social post this morning, the president writing, quote, "It is massive and pervasive, and the job he will be doing in conjunction with many great people within the Trump administration will be a major factor in how the future of our country will be." The president also saying Vance's focus will be everywhere, but primarily in blue states like California, Illinois, Minnesota, Maine, and New York. President Trump says they've had a free-for-all in the theft of taxpayer money. The president adding the numbers are so large that if successful, we could literally be able to balance our American budget. Trump ended his post saying the raids have already started in Los Angeles. And more now on a major federal operation targeting healthcare fraud in Southern California. Multiple people have been arrested. Authorities say the suspects turned hospice care into a multi-million-dollar scheme. NTD's Christina Corona tells us more.
Federal authorities in Los Angeles have arrested 8 people during several raids across Southern California dubbed Operation Never Say Die. According to the Justice Department, 15 individuals are charged in a hospice healthcare fraud scheme worth nearly $60 million. Prosecutors say those charged include nurses, a psychologist, and a chiropractor who allegedly exploited Medicare and private insurance. The FBI served arrest warrants in Covina, Anaheim, Glendale, and Lakewood, California, and as far away as Idaho. Investigators say some suspects ran fake hospice companies, enrolling patients who were not terminally ill to bill for unnecessary care.
Medicare reimbursed these companies for services that were intended to go to patients dying from a terminal illness. Instead, these defendants recruited beneficiaries who were not terminally ill and paid them to pose as patients receiving hospice care.
An Anaheim nurse is accused of filing fraudulent claims totaling more than $9 million, running a hospice that discharged most of its patients alive.
When you go to hospice, you're going there to die. You're not supposed to have an 85 survival rate coming out of your hospice facility. That is 5 times more than the national average of 17%.
Authorities say some patients were offered cash or gifts to sign up. In another case, prosecutors say a repeat offender received $4.2 million from Medicare.
Nita Palma, 76 years old, 3-time convicted healthcare fraudster who's actually in federal prison. She's charged in a new case because she perpetuated a new hospice fraud while she's in prison.
Officials say the schemes not only cost taxpayers millions, but also put vulnerable patients at risk.
The human cost should not be forgotten. If you're willing to steal money from the American people, from patients, you're willing to sacrifice their health, and you're willing to give up their lives.
If convicted, the suspects face up to 10 years for healthcare fraud and up to 20 years for wire fraud. Christina Corona, NTD News.
President Trump announcing a major change at the Justice Department. Attorney General Pam Bondi is out from her role. Assistant AG Todd Blanche will take over temporarily. Here are the details.
President Trump announcing a major shakeup at the Justice Department, saying Attorney General Pam Bondi will step down. In a social media post, the president praising Bondi's tenure, calling her a great American patriot and a loyal friend. President Trump says Bondi will transition to a new role in the private sector, while Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche will serve temporarily as Acting Attorney General. Bondi say on X she will help with the transition before moving on to a new position. Blanche speaking to Fox News about the shoes he's going to fill.
We are a better Justice Department, we are safer as a nation, and we should all be very grateful to the Attorney General for her sacrifice for this country and for what she did.
Blanche also addressing the work the Justice Department needs to do going forward.
Look, I think the president is frustrated. Everybody is frustrated because what we saw happen for the past 4 years is unforgivable and can never happen again. And so certainly I don't mind the frustration.
In a post on X, Blanche outlining his priorities as acting AG, backing the police, enforcing the law, and keeping America safe. Bondi's tenure as AG included a focus on violent crime, but also drew criticism from Republicans and Democrats over the handling of the Epstein files. Blanche confirming that has nothing to do with her stepping down.
I have never heard President Trump say that the Attorney General that anything that happened to her had anything to do with the Epstein files.
The change in DOJ leadership comes just over a year after Bondi was confirmed by the Senate in early 2025.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio accusing the Chinese Communist regime of bullying. Beijing is detaining or delaying dozens of Panama-flagged ships in China. Rubio's comments come after Panama took control of 2 critical ports on the Panama Canal earlier this year from a subsidiary of a Hong Kong-based company. In a statement published on the department's website yesterday, the Secretary of State writing, China's actions destabilize supply chains, raise costs, and erode confidence in the global trading system. In a post on X, he writes, the United States stands with Panama against any retaliatory actions against its sovereignty and will always support our partners in the face of bullying. In January, Panama's Supreme Court ruled it was unconstitutional for the Hong Kong subsidiary of CK Hutchison Holdings to be operating 2 ports. The company has ties to the Chinese Communist Party. The DHS shutdown now nearing 50 days. Republican leadership reaching an agreement to end it, but the House has not yet taken the vote. President Trump says he will soon sign an executive order to pay all employees at the Department of Homeland Security. NTD's Melina Weisskopf has the details.
President Trump says he'll soon sign an executive order to pay all DHS employees. He wrote their families have suffered far too long at the hands of Democrats. The move skirts congressional approval. House lawmakers have not yet returned to vote on a bill to end the shutdown. President Trump and Republican leaders have united around a 2-track approach to fund the DHS and delay ICE and Customs and Border Protection funding until later this summer.
What everybody realizes that, we have to do this now without Democrat votes. The Democrats, after we negotiated with them for 40 days on reforms, made it very clear they didn't really want reforms.
While House Republican leadership agreed to the deal, some rank-and-file Republicans are sounding off. Congressman Scott Perry immediately reacting to the deal, writing, "Let's make this simple. Caving to Democrats and not paying CBP and ICE is agreeing to defund law enforcement and leaving our borders wide open again. If that's the vote, I'm a no." Congressman Randy Fine told The Hill there's no desire to pass the Senate Open Borders bill and then hope we get the reconciliation bill that would close the border. They've got to come together. If several House Republicans oppose the deal, House Speaker Mike Johnson will have to rely on Democrat votes to reopen the DHS. It's unclear when the House will return, the Speaker vowing action in the coming days. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weisskopf, NTD News.
The U.S. is stepping up its restrictions on Chinese technology. The Federal Communications Commission is now proposing a broader ban on certain Chinese-made equipment. Earlier today, the agency said the move is driven by national security concerns. The proposal would expand earlier restrictions on major Chinese firms, including Huawei, ZTE, and Hikvision, all previously flagged as security threats back in 2022. The FCC blocked new devices from those companies. Now it's considering stopping additional imports of equipment that were previously approved before the ban. Officials say Americans can keep using devices they already own, but the goal is to prevent new shipments from entering the country. It comes as regulators continue tightening limits on Chinese tech, including recent bans on certain drones and internet routers. Those actions stem from concerns about surveillance and potential ties to the Chinese regime. Gold is sliding even as global tensions rise. So what's driving the drop? We ask an economist whether this is a temporary dip or a shift in how gold behaves during crises. More news after this break. Stay tuned.
So at the age of 5, I was sexually molested. I had my first child at the age of 15 and became homeless at the age of 16. The scariest part about not having a place to live was having a child and not having a place to live and not knowing where our meal was going to come from and where we're going to sleep. To be homeless as a teen, I didn't ask for that.
No young person should ever have to worry about having a safe place to sleep at night, or a warm meal to eat, or whether anyone cares about them. 1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year, and that's unacceptable. But the good news is there is an organization making a big difference, Covenant House.
Call or go online now. For a gift of only $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, you can provide hot meals, safe shelter, medical care, and love to more than 2,000 young people who sleep at a Covenant House every night.
For over 50 years, Covenant House has been helping youth in crisis.
It was pretty tough. But Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
Call or go online right now to safeplacetosleep.org with your gift of just $19 a month. With your monthly donation, you'll receive this soft, comforting blanket as a reminder of the warmth and safety your gift will provide a young person tonight.
I have no words to express how Covenant House changed my life. They gave me the love that I needed. They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding.
Your $19 monthly gift is urgently needed to reach other young people who are facing unimaginable situations. Call or go online to safeplacetosleep.org.
Your support makes the work of Covenant House possible. Thank you for caring.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.
Okay, here we go, throw it! Yeah.
You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
Nice.
Joining us now to discuss what's happening with gold prices is Christian Briggs, economist and CEO at Hard Asset Management. Christian, good afternoon. Always good to see you. So gold prices are down more than 10% from the peak in March. Why is that? Because, you would think during times of crises, people would go to gold as a safe haven, right? So why is it doing the opposite?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. That's a great question, Jack. So let me try to put it in a very simple perspective. There were two primary reasons gold took a bit of a retracement. Number one, the credit markets got really tight when we saw the oil prices jump and the stock market, the bond market took a pretty good hit. There was a credit crunch in the bond market, and there was a couple of very large private equity groups who had to sell gold in order to meet some margin calls. Now, I don't know the number, but it was significant enough that it pushed gold down. Plus, gold is very interest rate sensitive. And as the bonds took a fairly significant hit, anticipating inflation to run up, as we know, when oil moves up 50, 60, 70% in a reasonably short period of time, you're going to see some inflationary fear. And that fear can be mitigated a little bit over time if oil rises. $100 a barrel oil is still a lot, but if it does it over a year or two, not 2 or 3 weeks. So there were some margin calls on credit. And number two, interest rate sensitivity on gold is very prominent. So that was probably one of the biggest two factors that took the initial hit.
Okay, so here's the core question. Should we expect this is how gold is going to behave now in the future during crisis, or is this very specific to the Iran war, to what's happening now?
Well, again, that's a really good question. There's an old saying that goes back thousands of years. You can't go broke taking a profit, and you only want to buy on the dips. And if you look at gold for 5,000 years, it has done pretty darn well. Since 75, 1980, it's done pretty well. So I think the norm is volatility is part of the equation. That's just the way it is. Look at the stock market. I mean, look at Microsoft. It's down 25 or 30% from its peak. So there's going to be some retracement in every kind of an asset, especially when fear overcomes greed. But let me tell you something. Gold, by the definition of where it stands now as a reserve currency in the world, and it does, is now backstopping a large portion of Asian currencies, and it's going over into European currencies. And I believe the United States, under the Trump administration, has started to buy a lot of gold, anticipating a gold-backed treasury and a gold-backed stablecoin. Don't rule out President Trump's golden era. Remember that? The golden era, the golden dome. He loves gold, and he likes gold for its principle, which is its wealth, it's secure, it can't go bankrupt, and everybody acknowledges it as real cash. So yes, you're going to have some ups and downs, but if you're in this for the next 5 or 10 years, you're going to do quite well.
Okay, so I assume, I mean, maybe I shouldn't assume, but you're bullish on gold in the long term?
Absolutely. When you look at the amount of gold that's being bought by China and other Asian countries and how that amount of buying has proliferated itself around the world, you realize that gold is now the largest reserve asset. It used to be the dollar. It used to be the euro. It used to be the yen. It used to be a basket of foreign currencies. Gold has become the world's monetary asset. Why? Because it's universal. Something else I want to point out. When you look at South American countries, if you go back 15 years ago, gold was really not a big part of an equation of buying and selling. It wasn't the instrument. It wasn't the mechanism of a lot of trade. In South America, because of the currency ups and downs, to make it very simple, the devaluations and the inflation that can just kill currency, gold has become 40% or thereabouts of transactions in South America, small, medium, and large scale. It's become the new currency, the universal currency. If there was one currency or one asset that bona fides the world's understanding of wealth and stability, it's gold. And it's been embraced more in the last, I'd say about 5 to 6 years than probably the last 50 years combined.
So you said gold is a reserve asset for the world, and you're aware that central banks are buying a lot of gold right now, like China, for example. So my question is, are they trying to diversify, move away from US dollar denominated assets?
I'm glad you asked that question, because I don't get asked that question a lot, but let's talk about that for a moment. China's role as one of the leading economies of the world, and I've got to give them credit. Look at the last 35, 40 years. They've gone from a cottage industry manufacturing to one of the world's premier manufacturers. Doesn't mean that the United States has been left behind, but we kind of took our eye off the ball. And one of the things that we did in the United States was we overprinted. We got overzealous in our monetary policy. When 1974, when Henry Kissinger was able to negotiate the petrodollar, which was to stabilize the dollar in world trade, we used that opportunity to print. Because why? We had demand for the dollars. China never had that with the yuan or any of the other currency from Hong Kong dollar to the mainland. So what they did was, about 15 years ago, they took a very serious approach to maintain stability in their own currency by buying gold, which was an anti-dollar asset, right? When the dollar goes down, the gold goes up. So they were hedging their bets as they owned dollar-based assets, which were treasuries. And because they own so much treasuries, and the treasuries over the last decade have done well to some degree with declining interest rates, well, now we have increasing rates, or at least we have depreciable dollar-based assets, which are treasuries. And China was smart enough to take advantage of that. They saw what was going to happen, the overprinting, the overzealous spending by congressional, and every administration has been guilty since Nixon. Nobody can take the blame because they're all to blame. So now China is continuing, as are many countries around the world, Poland, Turkey, Hungary, any country in the world in the last 5 years has been a very large net buyer of gold. Why? Why not? It's stable. It actually does what it's supposed to do. It hedges devaluation in currency, the dollar being one of the leading currencies. Look at the euro, look at the yen, look at many other currencies around the world. Very few of them maintain their buying power. And if they can't maintain their buying power, that's one, deflates wealth in the country for the citizens, and it makes other governments that may hold those foreign assets nervous. If I was a bank, a foreign bank, and I held dollars or treasuries, and I saw those treasuries deplete, when I say deplete, that means a lot of people are just dumping them out of their reserve basket, out of the assets they hold. They're depleting them. Why? Because it's a depreciating asset. Why not buy gold? It's going up. It's hedging inflation. It's hedging devaluation of many currencies, primarily the dollar. So I think China was smart. A lot of countries are smart. And I would not be surprised if you see 10,000 gold by 2030 or sooner.
Okay, just one final thing here. Some practical advice for potentially investors here. Do you think gold has bottomed right now from its peak? A good entry point for some people?
If you're long term, it's bottomed out. It's a good entry point right now. If you're short term, I can't give you the answer to that, but I can tell you this. If you go back 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, let's just say 5 years ago, and you had bought gold, you're out of profit right now.
Okay, well, Christian, good to talk to you today. Thank you very much for giving us your insight.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Jack.
The Turning Point USA Spring College Tour is underway. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt and Turning Point CEO Erica Kirk opened the event yesterday at George Washington University. They touched on themes including family, faith, and freedom of the press. Erica Kirk took over as CEO of Turning Point after her husband Charlie Kirk's assassination last year.
And when you have that heavy intake of the press and you're reading all the stories, like you said, as a Christian, how do you guard your heart and mind when you read all of these from all walks of life, all different media types? How do you guard your mind and your heart from letting it penetrate and just really upset you or throw your whole day or just mess with even the internal narrative that you guys have in the admin?
Through prayer and faith. It's the only way to just cover yourself in prayer and in faith. And, you know, faith gives you such perspective that even the worst story or the worst news cycle is just a moment and it's passing. This too shall pass.
During a Q&A session, a question from the audience about the Save America Act asking if it's worth it, arguing there are low cases of voter fraud. Leavitt responding by saying she would need to verify the data provided, and then questioned, why are you okay with any voter fraud in the United States of America? The tour will be stopping at universities across the country, including in Idaho, Georgia, and Ohio. Speakers will include Board Czar Tom Homan, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Vivek Ramaswamy. NASA's Artemis II crew is officially heading to the moon after a final major engine firing. We followed the 4 astronauts as they go on their mission out of this world. A chocolatier in Barcelona makes high-end Caitlin treats for Easter. We have more on the traditional sweets when we return. Stay with us.
Getting prescription glasses from Select Specs is easier than you might think. Select your frames from our £6 range in-house brands or our extensive designer collections. Then enter, upload or email your latest prescription and our website will analyse it and help you select the best lenses and options to suit you. Click to place the order and your new Select Specs glasses are delivered right to your door. Ordering your prescription glasses is as easy as 1, 2, C with Select Specs and selectspecs.com.
Whispered across generations, a hidden secret unveils the essence of longevity and vitality, a timeless legend regarding energy and wonder. Rooted in ancient health wisdom, we proudly introduce Pure Tang Black Ginseng, a 100% natural organic energy drink made from premium 6-year-old Korean ginseng. It takes 2,260 days and nights from seed to growth, undergoing a meticulous 9-step process of steaming and drying. Black ginseng reaches its full potency, enriched with ginsenoside RG3 and enhanced absorption efficiency. No sugar, no caffeine, no artificial ingredients. Experience the pure, natural power of Pure Tang Black Ginseng. Nourish your body, strengthen your immunity, and boost your energy. To order Pure Tang Black Ginseng, please visit puretang.com.
There's a whirlwind of emotion and activity going on in this painting. And there's chaos all around and threat from below. The wolves surrounding her, and they're anything but unmoved. They're moving all the time, and we sense that. But this little girl remained.
President Trump is wishing a happy Passover to the Jewish community. Trump delivered his remarks from the Oval Office.
To our wonderful Jewish American community and to Jews celebrating in Israel and around the world this week, I want to wish you a very happy Passover. Over 3,000 years ago, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob delivered the ancient Israelites out of slavery and brought them into the promised land. It was an amazing period of time, just like today we have an amazing period of time. As Jewish families and loved ones gather together for Seder dinner, we ask that God will continue to watch over the Jewish people and that he may continue to preserve and protect the United States of America for generations to come. Our country is doing better than it has ever done. I am very happy to report. Happy Passover.
Passover is one of the holiest times of the year for the Jewish people and marks the ancient Israelites' exodus from slavery in Egypt. The Jewish community observes Passover for 8 days. Talk about an out-of-this-world experience. NASA's Artemis II crew is officially heading to the moon after a final major engine firing last night. Today, on day 3 of the mission, the 4 astronauts are scheduled to conduct a CPR demonstration. They'll also carry out a communications test through the Deep Space Network. Here's more.
My body's getting reacclimated. It's been a few years since I've been up here.
NASA is about to experience another giant leap for mankind.
We have just completed the translunar injection burn. Preliminary reports of a good burn.
In layman's terms, that means the process needed to boost the spaceship's speed fast enough to break free of the Earth's circular orbit was successful.
We all expected a really just dynamic ride, a lot of motion. We were prepared to potentially not being able to see telemetry, maybe even not being able to, touch switches, and it was very smooth.
The 4 astronauts on this 10-day mission are paving the path for future lunar surface operations as they circumnavigate the Earth's only natural satellite.
Humanity has once again shown what we are capable of, and it's your hopes for the future that carry us now on this journey around the moon.
This historic trip marks the first time humans left Earth's orbit since 1972's Apollo 17 mission.
First and foremost, I would just like to say thank you. Your support and trust in us has enabled this.
The crew is expected to return to Earth on April 10th.
NASA is pushing to accelerate our return to the surface of the moon. Artemis II is a key first step to that. Shake down that rocket, make sure we understand how that spacecraft works.
Numerous studies show microplastics are accumulating inside our bodies. The health department wants to know what they're doing to us and how to get them out. NTD correspondent Jason Blair has more about a new program announced by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
We are launching STOMP, which stands for Systematic Targeting of Microplastics.
HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. along with EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin announcing a new national program to better understand and measure microplastics and how to get them out of the human body.
We are focusing on 3 questions. what is in the body, what's causing the harm, and how do we remove it.
Secretary Kennedy references a study that estimates that the average person ingests tens of thousands of microplastic particles each year through food, water, and air.
Another study reports concentrations in the brain equivalent by mass to roughly a spoonful of plastic in every human brain.
Kennedy says that studies have shown them to be in human blood, lung tissue, livers, kidneys, and placentas.
And in a study of 62 placentas, every single sample contained microplastics, evidence that exposure begins before birth.
And he says not all microplastics behave the same.
Different materials accumulate in different organs and appear to drive different biological effects.
Lee Zeldin announcing new steps to safeguard U.S. drinking water from contaminants, including microplastics and pharmaceuticals.
This is a direct response to the concern of millions of Americans who have long demanded answers about what they and their families are drinking every day.
And Zeldin says it's the first time in history the EPA is designating microplastics and pharmaceuticals as priority contaminant groups. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Jason Blair, NTD News.
Today, the oldest auto show in North America, the New York Auto Show, is officially kicking off its 126th year. New model unveilings, innovation, and U.S. manufacturing are among the main focuses this year. NTD was at the media industry and preview before the show opened to the public. Let's dive in.
Introducing the Boulder concept.
Hyundai kicking things off with a world premiere of the Boulder concept, their first ever body-on-frame concept vehicle.
This is not just styling. It is the design built on American values and lifestyle. Body-on-frame gives us the freedom to expand this authentic approach to variety of lifestyles.
Hyundai is aiming to produce its first U.S.-built mid-size pickup truck before 2030. The company is looking to grow in the pickup segment here in the U.S., which has the biggest market of its kind in the world.
We are doubling down, expanding our expectations and our operations and bringing more products to the U.S.
Subaru unveiling 2 new SUVs, adding to its lineup of vehicles built for people who like spending time outdoors. And Infiniti introducing the all-new QX65 crossover, the first new nameplate in 5 years.
Mid-size SUV, 5-seat premium vehicle is the heart of luxury in the United States. The whole idea of this vehicle is really to present to the market an extremely flexible and diverse interior packaging-wise. There's a lot of utility, a lot of space in this vehicle, wonderful powertrain, standard all-wheel drive. However, we do speak a little bit to the heritage of the Infiniti FX from 20 plus years ago. And so we bring in that design language into a very versatile package.
Nissan, Infiniti's parent company, which has faced years of financial challenges and restructuring, displayed several vehicles as it works towards stabilization.
We brought back really exciting vehicles, different trim levels on those vehicles too, like we've added for the Nismo Z over there. The 6-speed manual is coming back over there. We have Smyrna, Tennessee, also in Mississippi as well. So we do a lot as far as manufacturing in the North American market, avoiding whatever tariffs, making sure there's no new tariff pricing added on there.
Across the show floor, automakers rolled out refreshed lineups, including 3-row family SUVs and performance-oriented models. Many of the vehicles on display are built here in the United States.
Everything is new on our all-new Atlas here. This is our 2027 model, and it is the debut of the second generation of the Atlas. It is predominantly a North American car.
We're going all hybrid now for our normal production run of the Camry, so efficiency as well as a lot of power under the hood, and then all the luxury and comfort stuff. We have a lot of U.S. factories. The RAV4, some of them are made in Japan, but some of them come out of Mississippi and some of them come out of Canada. So, yeah, a lot of North American plants.
The media preview days featured a range of updates across the industry, including redesigned family vehicles and special edition models. Many automakers continue to emphasize vehicle production in the United States. The auto show runs through April 12th and remains open on Easter Sunday.
A chocolatier in Barcelona is making high-end Catalan treats for Easter. The traditional sweets come in a variety of shapes, flavors, and vivid colors. NTD's Andrew Thomas has more on the holiday creations.
Easter in Barcelona means monas,
The chocolate or cake sculptures are a traditional part of Easter in Catalonia. Colorful eggs, rabbits, and baby chicks are popular items. Diana Patino is one of the chocolatiers creating the sweets.
In general, I transfer my ideas regarding chocolate shapes to the design of the monas. I think they are normally for kids, but I don't see why adults can't enjoy them as well. I like to apply a lot of colors to them, to apply contrasts in color, striking colors that appeal both to adults and children.
Patino is also a trained architect, experience that makes her creations unique. She doesn't put much sugar in her monas, but she has other methods to keep her products sweet.
I think my products reflect my background a lot. I use a lot of acid flavors. We are used to them in my native tropical Colombia. We are used to these types of flavors. I also like to create stark contrasts between very acid and very sweet flavors. So my products at Seuss tend to be not so sweet, but rather full of contrasts in the flavor.
According to the Patisserie Guild of Barcelona, between 800,000 and 1 million monas are sold each year. Traditionally, godparents give monas to their godchildren as Easter presents, something for the little ones in Catalonia to get excited for. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
The land of chocolate is gearing up for Easter. 40 of Belgium's most famous chocolatiers coming together to showcase artisanal chocolate with Easter egg-themed artworks in the country's capital.
There are a lot of different techniques like molding, coating, and detailing. You can sculpt, you can mold, you can shape chocolate.
I have to confess that when I'll see someone taking a bite, I'll think to myself, wow, that really took me a lot of hours of work. But that was part of the point too, to enjoy making it and then to enjoy seeing people enjoy eating it. So it really is a circle, an infinity symbol that starts over every time. So it's perfect.
So my interpretation was, because the theme this year is movement, I decided to do a golden carrosse, a coach, golden coach, and inside is a gold egg. Quite magical, it's whimsical.
The Belle of, which is French for nice egg, was started 4 years ago as a friendly competition for Belgium's top chocolate makers. The theme of this year's is pleasure in motion. Chocolate makers made trains, rockets, bicycles, wheels, carriages, hot air balloons, motorcycles, the mechanics of movement influencing the design. The exhibition will be open to the public until April 8th, and admissions and art sales will be donated to a Belgian cancer research organization. Each artwork is on sale for €900. President Trump issuing a new ultimatum to the Iranian regime as the U.S. destroys the country's largest bridge. More news after this break in just a moment. Stay tuned.
The bladder control aisle. You won't shop here again. Your private business is your own. The constant struggle is over. Now there's a better way. It's HDIS. We home deliver bladder control products. We understand how you feel. For over 25 years, we've home delivered to many of the 20 million Americans who deal with incontinence. We offer all brands. We pay shipping and use plain, unmarked boxes. If we can help you or someone you care for, call for your free product sample pack and $45 in money-saving coupons. Our counselors will help you choose the right product. And unlike stores, we're always in stock. You'll get what you need. Satisfaction guaranteed. HDIS, the better way.
For your free sample pack with your free catalog, $45 in money-saving coupons, and free product samples, call 1-800-701-6159. That's 1-800-701-6159.
Looking for a healthy and smooth-tasting brew? Drop by Days Coffee Roasters today and explore our wide selection of specialty-grade, small-batch roasted coffee. Home to North America's first enzyme-fermented coffee, we source a wide selection of specialty-grade coffee beans from around the world, and our baristas are ready to craft your customized brew. Visit Days Coffee at 28 North Street, Middletown, New York. Come experience a brew like no other.
For the first time ever, we're bringing you MyPillow mattresses and mattress toppers for as low as $99.98. Remember, sleep's all about temperature and pressure points. Whatever sleep needs you have, we have the right technology for you. Like our MyPillow mattress topper, our queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort supports to help relieve your pressure points. And how about our 3-inch Hybrid Plus mattress topper? It's infused with copper and silver to help your body get the restorative sleep it needs. And our MyPillow and Case Coil mattresses, I personally helped develop these mattresses to make sure they have everything needed to give us great sleep. Plus, they're made right here in the U.S.